thought I'd spend a bit of time and give you a piece of feedback and tell a story of an absolutely brilliant conversation I've had today, and it's been with a client with whom I've done some coaching, and we've had a good result. It's the kind of thing that really makes me very grateful that I do the sort of work I do, and to hear the very positive impacts it can have. So I do hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Well, here's a journey we embarked on, and it was a person who had got into a pretty sad state, quite anxious state, the product of really overthinking an awful lot of stuff that was going on in their lives at that time, and that generated its own fears. So the journey was maybe from this place of overthinking to a place where we can accept what's going on and eventually begin to feel some gratitude for the things we've got. But it's not an easy way forward, and this is why. You know, we can get a simple term like overthinking, and it becomes a sort of catch-all phrase for some pretty difficult and challenging stuff going on. So it could be any one or any combination of these happening at any time. They all have their sort of prominence. They're the things that keep us maybe awake in the wee small hours, and they are the things that catch us out maybe when we expect them least. And sometimes the cues come from nowhere. You know, it can just be a wrong word, a wrong look, just a bad vibe when we wake up in the morning. Very difficult to explain the source of it, and sometimes it can go quite deep, quite threatening. But I think it's quite useful to, one, acknowledge that this is going on, it does look and sound familiar, and then to be quite honest about the impact on us. So let's just take a little look at what that might be. So let me invite you to one of my childhood nightmares, and it's to do with whirlpools. Heaven alone knows where it came from, but this sort of idea of those feelings that we've named in the previous slide, being the energy of a whirlpool that actually sucks us into it. And this is where I felt my client was. You know, there was so much going on, seemed to be being pulled inwards and downwards, and had lost the power, lost the energy to pull back from it. So that phrase, all-consuming, was particularly suitable to describe the position my client was in comparison to the whirlpool, consumed by it and unable to back away from it. So what did we do? Well, we did that. You have to start somewhere. It actually looks like somebody's bitten a piece of that elephant's ear out, the left one, doesn't it? But not me. So we developed a relationship really between the big stuff and the small stuff, and say, okay, what is all consuming here, and what are the components of it? And once we'd done that, once we'd begun to break it up, we could then do something with the fragments and turn that into some can-do actions. So we were able to identify what a few of the most important things were to fix, and then to sort of say, let's choose one of them and let's do a bit of work around that. And obviously there were some sub things that came out of that too, but we'd managed to reduce it to a better place, and we also had a really good idea about what the impact of that might be. If we'd fix that, what might be happening. This is what we were doing. We were actually getting the confidence to open a few doors so that we could do the four things here, that we could say, you know what, I can approach this. I can, as I'm doing that, recognise what really matters to me, and by taking those small, those baby steps, we get some experience of success. And as we're doing that, we can experience both the recognition of others, and in this case the love and support of others who we're very close to, but there were some feelings, as you know, consumed in the whirlpool, that those relationships had been lost. They certainly hadn't, but by agreeing to sort of explore what the fragments were, we were able to put them together and to get some very positive experiences and feedback from it through an open door. The experience and the recognition of the success that poured through that open door gave my client the desire and confidence and motivation to do just this. It's quite interesting, when I've used this image before, it's been one that people have used to sort of as a metaphor for isolation. It was quite different with this particular client, who saw it as a marking out of the journey away from darkness, shadows behind us, and into the light. So that was great, in that not only was the image a powerful visual metaphor, but I learned too that My perceptions are just that my perceptions, different things mean different things to different people, and why wouldn't they? Developing strong personal narratives is really important to me. So how do we do that? How do we move from a place where it's been very difficult for people to spot too much good that's happening to one where they actually start to do this as a matter of course? Well, I think there's a little bit of rewiring of the way we perceive the world that needs to go on, and I work very often on gratitude. Here we go. It's a game changer for me. So what we do is just that. End of the day, jot down 3 things for which you're grateful. That could be the smallest act of kindness to some really big and significant stuff. And then if you keep a journal and pop them down in that, notebook, diary, no strong view, whatever bit of IT you're using. No, I do like the idea of writing. At the end of the day, switch your tech off and reflect on those before you move into sleep. And you can see what's going on here in those wee small hours, in that sort of gap of time between being awake and falling asleep. We're taking the stuff that was generally sucked into the whirlpool away, and we're replacing it with some really positive experiences that we look back on over the course of the day with gratitude. And then as we're looking for those things, can we notice the effect they have on us, the way they might lighten our mood and change the way we perceive things that happen to us, with us and about us, just because we're there and living our lives. So when I spoke to my clients about how they'd got on with the 3 gratitudes, I was massively pleasantly surprised to see that they developed their own approach, and this is what it was, and it reflected their journey really, that the 2 columns, what I want and what I need, were full before. It was focusing, or leading the person to focus on what they had got. They'd been taken quite poorly and had had then plenty of time to reflect on the journey they made, on the progress they'd made since we'd been working together. And what this person realised was that they'd actually got everything that they needed, so they need nothing, they don't want it for anything. They've actually got under their control and can recognise and see the value of all that matters to them. And I found that a massively powerful attribution and affirmation to the power of coaching, but also to my clients' commitment to the process. Okay, so we're coming to the last slide now, and I wanted to say thank you for sticking with me throughout this, and I hope it's been helpful and enjoyable. It's been a truly joyous experience for me, so my thanks here. It's my turn to express some gratitude and to recognise where that comes from. My thanks here go to my client for meeting me more than halfway with the process. In the coaching relationship, the power is always with the client, and sometimes leading them to understand that they have that power can be a bit of a long journey, but once they realise it, well, you do get some very, very positive effects, and we've had them today. Thank you too to my daughter Beth Dooner for her brilliant illustrations. Here's a couple of them, and it's taught me a lot. It's taught me about the power of visual narratives, which is something I understood, and I use that metaphor quite a lot, the visual metaphor quite a lot, but also that they are owned by the person who is seeing them and witnessing them, and not by me who is showing them. So that's been quite instructive. Happy to work with you. Please get in touch, and I hope you've enjoyed this coaching journey that for me has been an instructive delight. Thanks.